Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for coming to our meeting today. This is our second meeting of the month of February. I call this meeting to order. Roll call, please. Good, yes, he's run some copies up.
Alderman Chapman present.
Alderman Dubose present.
Alderman Bobastro's present.
Alderman Chastain present.
We have four, Mayor.
Thank you. Gentlemen, with the quorum being present, we have the agenda in front of us. We have an amendment to the consent agenda 4.7. Is adding another name to the donation. Item 4.7. In the consent agenda, item 4.77. And there's an item that this is printing off that we have a task order from the engineer on the vote that we made last meeting to start the bulkhead repair on the waterfront. We approved that last week. This is the task order to get started with that. That is the amendment that we would add also to that, Judge, to be on the main agenda.
Main agenda, item 5.7.
Is there anything on the consent agenda you want to move down? Any one of the board members? Anything on the consent agenda you want to move down to the main agenda for discussion? Alderman Chapman, do you have an item you want to discuss? Add to discussion.
One item, yes, sir, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to add just an item of information regarding discussion with the Mississippi Export Railroad.
That would be part of the discussion item 5.7. We have two items for discussion. Part two of that 5.7 will be a part of the discussion as well.
Mayor, we also have added as an amendment an executive session, Parks and Recreation personnel matter and Police Department personnel matter.
Yes, that's correct. That's that'll be a part of the consecutive sessions. With those additions, I got a motion to accept the agenda with those additions.
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion by Alderman Chapman, second by Alderman Chastain. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Alderman Chapman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me a distinct pleasure and tremendous honor to introduce to some and present to others a very, very close friend and brother, a pastor of the Grace Baptist Church here in Moss Point. Known him longer than he's known himself. He is former employed in Chevron, an extremely devoted friend, leader, pastor, and we celebrated with him on yesterday, the 15th year anniversary of church anniversary. We celebrated with him last year, his 6th year anniversary as pastor. And I'd like for you to, by a round of applause, please help me welcome Pastor James C. Holloway of Amazing Grace Baptist Church.
Thank y'all for having me for a brief moment. My devotion will come from Genesis 29, verse 10 and 11. It said, "For thus said the Lord, that after 70 years be accomplished at Babylon, I will visit you and perform my good word towards you in causing you to return to this place. For I know the thought that I think towards you, said the Lord, thoughts of peace and not evil, to give you an expected end." If I could just do a little devotion for a brief moment, I'd like to talk about this city will rise again. I was looking at the Mayor Foundation and talking about vision, believing in faith. Looking back over the history, in 1901, Morris Point was incorporated as a city, which make this, great city 125 years old. I don't know how many of y'all knew that, but this year Morris Point is 125 years. In fact, Morris Point holds the distinction of being the only city in Mississippi to be incorporated directly as a city without first being chartered as a village or a town. It just automatically became a city. It didn't go through the village, it didn't go through none of that, it just became a city. And the business ranges back then, we had the shipbuilding, which built ferries. We had a sawmill, which was a paper mill, and a ferry will always get the wood to the paper mill to produce. The city was very prosperous. But in 2001, which is now 25 years ago, we can recall Martin Diacol, we can acknowledge that the paper mill closed their doors and the economics of our city began to suffer because of revenue and income. So our current administration operated with a very small budget. Even though the city people expect them to still do the things they did, when they had all the work, all the jobs, all of that in place. And from a citizen standpoint, it's easy to look around and say, well, what they doing? Why they ain't doing this? Why we got this and that? And this is my devotion to y'all. And sometimes we overlook the fact that the funding just ain't there. I'm talking about, I don't know a whole lot about the city, but based on revenues of businesses, Morris Point have very few businesses. But despite Morris Point's situation, despite what we see around us, God hadn't abandoned or forgot about Morris Point. Morris Point will restore its glory days if we learn to work together, stop pointing fingers. This is my devotion. Stop pointing fingers, stop accusing everybody, and really work together, seeing that the businesses is just not here. We see that Chevron, all their funding went to Pascagoula. We noticed that when you look into this area, there's just not a whole lot of funding. In Jeremiah 29:10-13, it's a promise of hope and restoration, restoring from God, even though you may not can do it, even though you may not have the funds, even though you may not have the proper needs to do it. God don't need funding to restore. God don't need funding to build back up. God don't need funding to bring action back into reality. And so God, if we allow God to really do this, like our vision, believing in faith, it's really gonna take that. When we begin to look at this, it assures us that despite our current situation, I understand we have youth that don't have a whole lot of things to do, and so they hang in the street. We see a lot of gun violence, and we blame the police force. I'm gonna tell you, it's not the police force fault. And we really look into reality, most of these children come out of our house. Amen. And so the reality of it is gonna take a community. If we're gonna see this city rise, now I stay in Goshen, but I graduated Morris Point in 1993. I can recall we won more football championship. We sent more people to the NFL. We had 3 people that went pro in the NBA. This city is prosperous. This city have hope, but it takes everybody to pull together to make it happen. If we realize the funding ain't there because of business, it takes other things to make things happen. I know we might see buildings that we say, why they ain't condemned? It takes money to tear buildings down if you ain't got it. And so what I'm trying to say, this city will rise again, but it's gonna take teamwork. Can't point fingers. Can't put blame where blame really ain't at. It's all our responsibility, even from a church standpoint, to build back our community and build back our city the way it used to be. We still have a beautiful city. Go on the outskirts of Morris Point, it's beautiful. We still have hope. We still have the opportunity to rebuild what we think is gone. It's not gone. I know we have a lot of meetings and talk about these things, but in reality, meetings are good. Eternal Father God, you have done all things well. We thank you for what you're doing in the city of Morris Point. Father, we pray that you put your hedge of protection over it. Give it what it needs to prosper. Lord, we're expecting you to rise the city back up to its former glory. Not so that we can glory in it, but that we can tell the world what you're capable of doing. We love you, we adore you, and we actually bless this meeting. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you very much, Reverend. You stand for the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands,
One nation, under God,
indivisible,
liberty.
liberty.
Oh, we thank you, man. You don't have to stay if you don't need to.
I'd like to also recognize Pastor's wife here tonight with, as always. Want to recognize you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. Thank you, Reverend. We're down to item number 2, the presentation of board report. We have no presentation, so board members, do you have any questions for our board members? All of their reports is in your package. Do you have any question for any department head?
Mr. Richie here.
Who's that?
Richie,
Pat is here in this place,
Pat,
right here.
Mr. Pat. Robin Hood Drive.
Rich, can you give me a full report? And for the sewer, yeah.
Oh, okay. We got one update on that, order.
That's all I wanted. I noticed it hadn't started any work today. The day's supposed to be the day last week supposed to be the day they started. It's about 4 years behind now. Like neighbors is wondering when they're gonna start on it, and when they're gonna complete it. It's a project that just can't nobody give us any answers for. I don't understand that. I've been talking to Richie and Neil Schaefer, but Breeze, whoever supposed to be the contractor, it's getting worse. Sewage is falling, getting worse. And we need some kind of answer.
Any other question?
Can y'all hear me?
Who's that? Is that Richard? Richard
Yes.
got it. Richard, you want to make a comment on that, Richard?
Yeah, I was just gonna say we got a meeting scheduled with the contractor. We're just as frustrated as you, Alderman Bradford. We actually we were hoping they would get started earlier. So we have a meeting scheduled with them to try to figure out why. And we may need your help putting pressure on them at some point. Just to keep them square on it. But yeah, we have a meeting scheduled to figure it out, and I'll let you know what happens with that.
Yeah, what do you mean by need your help? Is that you're in a contract because of the lowest bid. And now they're the lowest bidder, but they're not starting to work on time. So we may have to revisit that contract. That's what he mean when he say he may need the board's help. What we're gonna do.
They rewarded it before I got on the board, but
Well, it doesn't matter. We are here now.
but it was
What it is, we have to correct it now.
but the project started when I was on the board before that. So you talking.
This is not the same project.
Yeah.
This is not the same project.
It's not Robin Hood Drive?
Well, driving the drive, but it's not the same contract. That contract was finished, and we mentioned before that original contract, the favor that you're concerned about was not a part of that original contract. It is a part of this contract. So this contract is let, and they have a certain number of days to complete that job, and every day they are late completing the job, not starting, but late, they're being fined for that, but that's at the end of the contract.
Can I ask you a question about Gulf Breeze qualification and why was they awarded this contract and they're not even a sewage contract? They're grass cutters.
Well, it's a little late for that conversation,
Okay.
but they bid it on it, they met the qualification, they were the lowest bid, that's why they were chosen. They met all the qualifications because they have done this work in other places. In other words. All right, item number 3, public comments. We have, Mr. Mac, Mr. Mrs. Mac, M-A-C-K? Is that M-A-C-K? Yeah, give us your, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce it. Connor? So you're Connor Max, what ward you live in? Who's your alderman? Do you know that?
I'm actually not, I would currently live in Moss Point, but I'm trying to have something at Pelican Landing. It's a mental health, seminar, awareness seminar to help this community and not just our community, but other communities that want to be a part of it.
Okay.
And, but,
Okay.
so I have a licensed, person that works at the VA who is from Moss Point, Dr. Kelly Woods, is going to be the primary speaker here to help our veterans with PTSD. We have a rise of teenage suicide. We have young adult suicide. You know, that's on the rise 60% based on the National Center for Health Sciences. And so there is such a need in our community to talk about mental health. And we are not, and we have resources that can address that. I have some people that would come that have outpatient services to help the community. Actually, Coastal Family has a mental health component, and so many people in the community may not even be aware of that. And then there's ways to help families that are, you know, have family members that are struggling with schizophrenia and bipolar disorder and PTSD to help them get court commits to get them evaluated through the hospital. So it's just something that is so needed. And it's just to start to address the issue. So and then it's like it helps the police to know how to even deal with someone that has mental health. We've got so many children now that are dealing with depression. They have a statistic in this study that I was looking at, 12-year-olds dealing with depression, thinking about committing suicide. So it's just something that our community is in dire need of. And I want to bring a mental health seminar here to Moss Point to host this event. And I was just hoping that the board would consider waiving that because I'm just getting started with this, but it's just a burden of mine and a passion to help because I dealt with depression myself before.
Well, unless the board wants to change, we have a policy not to waive Pelican Landing for any circumstance. So is that what you're asking, let us let you have that building at no cost?
Yes, sir.
Comments from the board?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, Ms. Mack was referred to me. Good to see you. And our discussion, heard that the policy covers attendance, set up, et cetera, et cetera. Need her to come in and at least make her appeal to the board. She understands that policy and just desiring that we waive. Thank you.
Any other comments?
You want to waive, how much of that? I mean, the price of, you want the total price, you know, the total price of it waived, a portion of what, percentage of what?
Because right now I don't have any funds, but I do have something that, because I have sponsor letters out to several different businesses. And I'm hoping to get something back because if they do say that they can give me whatever, I would pay the whole amount. But right now, if we could do even waive half, that would be great. Something is better than nothing to me because I will work on trying to get what's needed. Okay.
All right, Ms. O'Connor, is there any other facility that could probably facilitate what you need other than Pelican Landing, i.e. maybe helping her out with City Hall in this meeting room? I don't know what that goes for, but I'm sure it's considerably less than what something like and the flux of people that possibly can come in during this particular seminar or this particular presentation to help someone, to register someone for this type of service would a smaller facility be?
Of course, I would definitely consider that. Like I said, it's just something that I know that it's slated for May because it's Mental Health Awareness Month. And so I'm just, you know, getting ahead, trying to be ahead and not wait until the last minute to try to secure a building for this.
Yeah, and possibly pair up with some other people who could probably give services as well. I think we've attended someplace up there that that dealt with not only mental health, but just prostate health to the whole gamut of health. So, you know, it may be one of those things that you don't have to tackle it alone. Yeah.
You talk to any pastors for the fellowship hall?
Not yet. I was just told to come here first and then I will compile me.
Need the information. I know a couple of them.
Okay, I have a card. Thank you.
Try to get their fellowship hall and give them opportunity to do some outreach in the community.
Right.
Thank you. Item number 4.
Mayor,
Yes.
as we go to the consent agenda, I just want to remind everybody that the word 4.6 of your consent agenda, where you find it the fair market value of personal property. It is basically quick kitchen equipment that is no longer needed and surplus property that's at Pelican Landing. It's not real property, but that's what the statute refers to. So it's just personal property at Pelican Landing.
Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Judge. Mr. Mayor, some of that material having been condemned by the chief, so it's no longer usable or safe for us to use, so we gotta surplus it. Thank you, Judge.
Okay. Have a motion we need a motion for 4.1, consent agenda to approve 4.1 through 4.10. Consent agenda.
Motion to approve the consent agenda with the correction in wording on 4.6.
Second.
The motion by Alderman Chapman and second by Alderman Chastain that we approve item 4.1 through 4.10 with the correction on 4.6. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Main agenda, item 5.1, approve, decline, or request to renew the city's insurance policy with Cadence Insurance in the amount of $331,865 submitted by Tricia Thigpen, city clerk.
I would actually taught our insurance agent to come up and just talk about the savings that we realized this year compared to, well, kind of the same saving we had last year, but
Yes, sir.
Todd, would you go
It's
Leslie?
about the same as we had last year, Mr. Mayor. I think every one of y'all have seen the presentations. It's about 4 pages long. But it's basically our insurance on all our buildings, all our vehicles for what you and I would know as comp and collision. Okay, Mississippi Municipal League handles the auto liability. It also handles all our sewer lift stations, reverse osmosis plants for damage. And those are the main things on this. We saved a little north of 50,000 last year. We're saving another 50,000 this year. The program stays the same as far as deductibles go and limits go. So it's close to a 15% decrease overall. So anybody have any questions?
Thank you, Todd. I have a motion on the floor. Read a motion. Accept this insurance.
Motion to accept.
Motion by,
Second.
who's that motion by? Douglas Vestro?
Yes.
Alderman Vestro made the motion, second by Alderman Chastain. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it.
Next item, 5.2, approve, decline, restore 22-00037 I-10 connector project. Request approval of pay request number 6, $225,123 for submission to MDEQ, and authorize mayor to execute same submitted by Tricia Thigpen, city clerk.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Alderman Chapman, second by
Lastro.
Alderman Vestro. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it.
Next item, 5.3, approve, decline, I-10 corridor project GCRF 21-32. Request approval of pay request number 2 for submission to MDA and authorize Mayor Knight to execute same. Note, this pay request accounts for matching restore funds expended in the amount of $279,633. It does not request funding reimbursement from DCRF funds submitted by Tricia Thigpen, city clerk.
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion by Alderman Chapman, second by Alderman Leonard.
Yes.
Any questions?
Mayor, I just wanted to, I had called ahead to have this clarified. What we're doing basically is documenting the restore payment that we did expend restore funds. That's going toward the 20% match. We just needed it spread across the minutes to document that and be able to send it in for reimbursement.
Right. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes? Ayes have it.
Next item, 5.4, approve, decline I-10 corridor project GCRF 21-32. Request approval of pay request number 3, $254,695.97 for submission to MDA and authorize mayor not to execute same, submitted by Tricia Thigpen, city clerk.
Motion to approve.
Second.
The motion. Alderman Leonard, second by Alderman Chastain. Any questions? Any comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Next item, 5.5, approve, decline a recommendation to hire Tvon Campbell as police officer, lateral transfer certified, submitted by Dennis Stevenson, chief of police.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Alderman Chastain,
Second.
second by Alderman Dubose. Any questions?
Mayor, I had a question.
Yes, sir.
I don't know if any of the rest of the board noticed, but over the past week, there's been several things floating around in it's the world we live in, social media, but about this recommendation. Are you satisfied?
Yeah, when I have,
Move this to executive session since we already have.
no, we have, Chief Hudson here. He does our investigation for us. Chief, could you come up and refresh, tell us what you know when you did your investigation? He's the one that we have along with, Mr.
Did a background check on Mr. Tvon Campbell.
Let me just ask this. No, there was specific concern about it that you heard,
Yeah,
that you want him to address?
probably wouldn't want it mentioned in public.
It's not, I want the public to hear.
Right.
What went on.
Okay, thank you, Cal.
It's not, he's not employed here, he's put in for the position. He interviewed for the position, we did a background check on Mr. Vaughn. Doing that background investigation, we went through the whole process. In the process, we asked him, was there anything that he could, his conduct, anything that he did that probably would cause us not to want to bring him on. He brought up the incident involving him responding to domestic violence with him and another officer. He goes to the house. When he get to the house, he goes in. This woman has been attacked. She's been abused. She's going through all this abuse. The officer displayed their taser. This guy apparently high on some type of drug. They displayed their taser. He broke the taser. They hit him again with the taser. He broke the taser again. He goes, runs, jumps in the car because the woman is trying to get away from her. He's in the car with the lady. Now he's on top of her inside the car, beating her, choking her. This guy has no aspartame on him. That's an impact weapon that we have. He has nothing to get in the car. He looks around, he's trying to figure out how can I get in to help this lady. There's a bat laying in the road, in the yard. He goes and get the bat, busts the window out. Keep in mind, you got adrenaline flowing, and he's trying to save this lady who's being attacked. He busts the window out. He busts the other window out. He goes in and he rakes the car. He gets them out. He's still fighting this guy. So he takes the bat and he's hitting his arm to try to stop him with the bat. He then busts him across the head. He's thinking at the time. All right. As a police officer, being in that position before, being spit on, using baton, we're trained not to strike anybody in the head. He had an opportunity to strike him in the head if he's trying to kill him. They viewed his body cam. watching body cam, and going to the district attorney's office who viewed all these things, who cleared him of any wrongdoing. So that was actually nothing he did that caused him not to be employed as law enforcement. He's still certified detective, he's on the attack team, very sharp, very educated. And he's a good fit for the police. At any time, I can't hire him, but I can recommend him to the chief. That's what we did. I'm not a rookie. I know how to bring on good quality people. We interviewed several other people I did not bring on because of their background. We done all that. What we're not gonna do, the most point, is bring in people that's going to terrorize our city, terrorize our people. You ask me to do a job, if I'm gonna do the job, I'm gonna do the job. But if I'm gonna be questioned about the job that I'm doing for the hire people here, don't ask me to do anything. All right, because you wasted my time. All right. So we vetted the people, did what we're supposed to do. Now I'm here wasting my time. Wasting my time with something that Facebook, I'm tired of Facebook. I'm tired of being, we use the Facebook to dictate how we gonna do that business right. That's why the city can't move forward right now, because what people post on Facebook. If y'all don't operate based on Facebook, then you'll never do anything. We don't work out Facebook. You work out experience. You work out what you know. You hire people based on what you know. And if you hire the right people to do the job, expect them to do what they have to do. And if they can't do it, get rid of them. That's what you do. But don't waste my time. And I'm just telling you right now, I told Chief Stennis, you want me to do the job, I'm gonna do the job. But if I'm not gonna sit here and waste my time. So that's what I'm telling you. The guy's a good officer. And he's gonna be a good fit. I don't care what you saw on Facebook. Because if they video everybody else what they put on Facebook, we wouldn't have no office. We wouldn't have no.
Alderman.
Because you dictate what they do. You can't dictate what people do on Facebook.
Right. Right.
That's wrong. Social media is messing a lot of people up. And that's not how we vet people. There's 3 people that we disqualified. And we're not gonna bring the people on here that are not qualified to be here. So that's why I'm telling you now. If y'all want me to do the job, continue to do the job. Y'all hired me to do the job. Expect me to do it. But if not, don't waste my time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Mayor, I'll just say it's definitely not a waste of time to just ask questions. If there's information out there that we need clarified, and I do appreciate, because the answer we got is what I hoped we would get. And now everything's clear and the people know the truth. Because we have another person on our force now who was caught up in an investigation in 2012 with a check cashing scheme, but apparently was not prosecuted, and that never came out. So it's okay to ask a question. Just come to us with the information, present it to the public, and we clear everything up, and then we move forward. And that's the way to do it, not to leave people wondering, well, was this thing that was said on Facebook true or was it not? If it's not, come to us like Calvin did just now, lay it out there, and then we get the truth, and then we move forward. So thank you, Mayor.
Okay, you're welcome. Any other comments?
Man, how's Facebook? Why are we reacting to that? I mean, who's these folks? Every time we look up, they got a comment. Everything the chief's trying to do, they want to rebuke it and all that. I mean, why are we even paying any attention to these folks? Facebook is just what it is. You know, they scandalize the process of the process. They scandalize, had me on there looking like a clown with a clown suit on.
Oh, you by yourself?
And you.
Okay.
I'm speaking for me. I'm speaking for me, but I had a little bow tie on and everything. I thought it pretty sharp. So
Leave me out.
you was too clown.
I looking like bozo.
Can't react to all this stuff.
Right.
We hired the chief. We got faith in him, and I got a lot of faith in him. If this the man that's doing the investigation, I got faith in him. We need to quit breaking this stuff. This ain't giving now tonight. They're gonna go back on Facebook and react to what we did. So leave that alone. We need to quit reacting to Facebook. It's one name I'm not gonna even give him no play. But that young man right there, we do not need to be paying no attention to him. Yeah, I know he'll come at me tonight, but I've been knowing him since he was 10, so I ain't studying.
We got a motion and a second?
Yes. Yeah, there's a motion and a second.
Motion and second. Any other question? All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Nays? Thank you.
Let me just say in reference to this, I'm glad we recognize that we should listen to the people that we hire and not listen with Facebook. But that holds true for every department head that we have. The engineering staff that we hire, it also goes for them. Everybody that we hire them because we say they know what they're doing. And therefore, we take their recommendation. Yes, we should ask questions. But when they explain it to us, then we should accept that recommendation. Because we have to assume that they're not going to bring us a recommendation that's not going to be beneficial to the city. So let's keep this in mind, gentlemen, that we're saying we should not listen to this stuff on Facebook about what's happening in the police department. But that holds true for every department. We hire everybody in these department heads to bring us recommendations. And what I'm hearing now that we should not nitpick what they're bringing us. So that holds true for every department. Not just police, but every department. They bring us a recommendation, we ask questions, we accept their recommendation for the most part. But there's some glaring reason we shouldn't. We should take their recommendation because they are the experts better than we. We're hiring because they know more about this stuff than we do. So I just ask us to remember that because I agree with you. We hire people to work for us, bring us recommendations. And we should trust that their recommendation is best for the city. Otherwise, they wouldn't bring it to us. Now, we should get clarification for it, but we should accept their recommendation for the most part. I know there's exceptions. For the most part, we should be taking their recommendation. Okay, next item.
5.6, approve, decline a recommendation to change the hourly rate for certified part-time police officers from $25 per hour to $19 per hour, submitted by Dennis Stevenson, Chief of Police.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Alderman Chastain and second by Alderman Vivastro. Any questions?
Man, this I don't understand or agree with. And I'd like for the chief, if we had the explanation, I'd like for him to explain what's going on.
Okay, Chief.
Basically, since we've been in this position, we've been analyzing our budget to maximize its full potential. So there's a budgetary thing as relates to changing the hours. We reviewed their work from 3 months that they're coming in when they want to come in. This is my opinion to the city. So we're trying to basically look at other ways on how we can maximize our budget. Lately, we've been spending a lot of money on trying to maintain it. Things like that. So, some of that has been fixed because we're not at a point in our budget to so as our it's my thing is to try to do the things that we're needed, prioritize our budget. We budget over $188,000 for part-time employment, but when we call them, basically when they're able to come in. So then it's a morale thing as well. You know, we got officers every day for time, they're working 6-7 hours a week to maintain this city, and they make more than a sergeant on the road. When you all around various cities, they pay them $15, $19 an hour. And so this is why we're submitting this proposal tonight. try to, we talked about trying to buy cars and stuff like that, at least one. And so we're just trying to maximize. But I think this will be beneficial to the whole department.
That was gonna be one of my questions, it keeps us competitive with what the other part-time rates are in the gym there, so that's.
Things that we don't have part-time. They're looking for part-time, that's our biggest thing. Another thing, as we talk HR, we need a records clerk. We need an administrator for CID because of all the cases that we're working and the cases that we're currently reopen to try to solve. So there's a lot of things that we need to do within the department to get it up and running and try to operate within the budget you all have given us. And that's one of the things that I think we have.
How many part-time officers do you have?
We have three.
3? You want to cut it to 19? Why don't you just get rid of them? If they're not functioning, they're not coming in, just say that $19 too. And how you put it where you need it.
Yeah, good.
You have to have part-time certified officers.
Well, even though they're not coming in when we need them, they are coming in. However, they want to be that drastic situation, but the future is basically to move away from part-time officers and full-time officers committed to the city. They have other jobs, and sometimes their job don't allow them to come in. So
how many,
the goal is to,
how many workers you created, clerks or whatever you need, gonna be able to hire with this cut?
we're currently working with Litigation HR as we look at the restructuring of our department within our budget based upon that evaluation. And from what we're looking at right now, we will be able to hire a records clerk and CRD. We have to basically take 2 part-time positions to make it one, so it makes sense.
Mayor, I had a question. Chief, I just want to make sure we're meeting your needs. I think sometime back when we raised it to 25, the idea was to use more part-timers to help you with your overtime budget. So if you have a few part-timers come in, you don't have to pay somebody else overtime. You're happy, you're satisfied that this is not going to hurt you in your overtime budget and kind of to what Alderman Bradford said. So two-pronged questions. So that's part of it. Is I don't know off the top of my head, and Bernice may know how many overtime positions we're budgeted for at $25 per hour. You say we have 3 on staff, but how many are we budgeted for?
Budgeted for is that part-time, because you said
Part-time.
overtime.
Part-time.
So part-time right now, there's 5.
5 budgeted.
Say 1 officer for the court department. You have 2 that are currently filled, and the other 2 we can't fill. So at this moment, it's not really benefiting him because his full-time officers are working and the part-timers have committed to their full-time job, and the full-time stays present before part-time, it's no different than the fire. So wherever they work full-time, that takes precedent.
Yeah, sure.
Not working and they're not able to come to his full-time officers will still have to work. So it's really at this moment, it's not benefiting him as much as you would think it does, because all the part-times are not.
But is that because we only have 3 timers on staff? Do we need to add the other 2 that are budgeted so you'll have more to pull from?
No, it's just they're not filled. We don't have anybody applying.
Okay.
So there's just.
And that kind of, and I'm with you. I'm gonna support what you're asking for. I'm just wanting to have this discussion because, like you said, we don't have them applying. And the idea was if we bump our part-time pay up a little higher, maybe these folks that are applying in other cities would come here and help us. But if that's not working, fully support you making a change here. Now, my one last question would be, does that mean that our warrants officer Chapman, is his pay going to go down to $19 per hour?
Well, he's a retiree, so at that point, that's dictated by her.
Wait, what? His hourly pay?
He can only make so much required by her. So if you're a retiree, you can only earn half or 25% of your gross average income based on PERS.
I understand that.
About PERS as far as what he can make and how many hours he can work.
How many hours he can work, but his hourly pay is gonna go from 25 to 19?
As long as he's within PERS requirement, he's evaluated every year by the end of PERS fiscal year, which is June 30th.
So is he evaluated based on his hourly rate or based on how many hours he will work?
He's evaluated based on how many hours he's allowed to work with PERS and that he does not exceed the salary that's allowed.
I got you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Chief. You know the question.
Any other question?
Is there a motion on the floor?
We got a motion and a second.
Okay, we have a motion on this item. It's item number 5.6.
5.6.
I have a motion by Alderman Hussein and a second by Alderman Rivestro.
Okay, we have Alderman, motion by Alderman Chastain and a second by Alderman Vastro to accept the chief's recommendation. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it.
And final item on the main agenda is 5.7. Task orders or task order numbers 10, 11, and 12. Bulkhead pier demolition and reconstruction submitted by Tricia Thigpen, City Clerk.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion by
Alderman
Alderman Chapman. Any question? Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. The other item,
It moves us to the discussion portion of the agenda with the Sue Ellen.
you got Alderman Chapman had
In Sue Ellen Gym and also Mississippi Export Railroad.
Sue Ellen Jim.
Yes, sir. Sue Ellen Gym would be first up.
Evening, gentlemen.
Very
Got some pictures that we took for you. Y'all have a chance to take a look at those? Yeah. Pat has, I got one pack. I'll start down here and let y'all pass it and look at some of these also. Same stuff, just different phone. He had a single packet that just something else he took.
Okay.
They're same stuff, just zoomed out a little bit more.
Okay. Go ahead, Luke, tell us what you think.
Anyway, of course, back during the tornado, we had some wind driven rain caused some issues. And I think we've had some roof issues. Jim's had issues for a long time from what we can tell. I said that it sits pretty low. After talking to Coach Katori, he said during heavy rains, sometimes water just comes in around the building. So we had discussed Donna's here. So anyway, I met Donna and Richie and Pat out there on a couple of occasions, kind of looking, getting a game plan, how to make the repairs. One of the things that came up was the exterior, because we can all agree that needs some work. We kind of opted out of repainting it just because of the labor costs to actually get that back down to bare metal, get it primed. The labor would just be insane. Also, the brick wainscot that goes around the building was not flashed. It didn't have any flashing. So water, whenever the water hits that building, whenever the wind blows the rain up against it, it just runs straight down that metal. Of course, since you got brick right there on the outside, the water just sits there. Some of it goes in the gym, some of it sits. So the kind of initial thought is that would probably need to come off. And instead of trying to get the building back down to bare metal, it would be probably a good idea to remove all the siding from it and put brand new siding on it. That way you get a warranty with it. It'll look nicer for a long time. And I think it was kind of a design to enhance the facade to make it look a little nicer. But as that discussion progressed, we decided that it would probably be a good idea, given the knowledge that we have about water intrusion, we should probably take a closer look at it before we have a contractor tear into it. So what y'all are looking at, we had Jeremy Jackson, steadfast contractor. He met us out there, and he and his helper sections in 5 different spots to inspect to see what we were going to encounter when that siding came off. It was considerably worse than expected. We expected to see some rust issues, but we weren't really prepared for what we saw. So we checked in 5 different locations, 5 of the vertical columns, the main supports for this building, and 4 out of the 5 are rusted completely through, front, back, and the middle. So those I-beams are just extremely deteriorated. We were expecting to see some rust. We were expecting probably to have to replace that lower purlin, which is the lowest horizontal support that holds the siding on. So we were kind of expecting that. We were kind of hoping, best case scenario, when the siding came off, the lower purlin would have to be replaced, maybe sandblast the vertical columns, knock the rust off, and treat it with some paint. Of course, along with that, we would have to do some grading to keep, get the water away from the building in the future. But when we got into it, like I said, y'all can see the pictures, y'all can see how bad it is. Structurally, the building is compromised, to say the least. So after looking at it, we just a brief conversation with Richie and Pat, Donna, Jared of Steadfast Construction. We just kind of weighed options in a quick meeting. It would probably be a better use of funds to demolish the building and rebuild a new Sue-Ellen gym. Like I said, the logistics of trying to make this repair, like I said, we're anticipating that none of the rest of the vertical columns are going to look much better than what we've seen. So if you can imagine going through each one of these, having to cut it off at about 4 feet high, have somebody design, build, and engineer the exact same thing to go in there in place of it while the building is supported, cut that off, put a new one down. It's going to have a different style base plate because the bolts are useless. So the logistics of engineering that on the front end and the logistics of actually doing the work, tear a section out, cut one off, weld one back in place, probably have gussets on the inside, front and back of it, and then have to do that for every single one of them is just not feasible. And then we still have the issue that the building, the finished floor sits about 1.5 inches or 2 inches above grade, which is a lot of the moisture issue we're having, not only when the moisture gets in the building, but as the rain recedes, what can drain off drains off. When the finished floor is only 1.5 inches or 2 inches above grade, that moisture stays on that slab right there. So with the new gym, we can fix a lot of these issues. Slab would have to come out, raise the slab up 8 to 12 inches. That gives us room to bring in a little bit of dirt, grade, make the parking lot drain better, get water away from the building. That way we don't run into this issue 40 or 50 years in the future. But like I said, that's kind of where we're at on this project. I'm glad we went ahead and did the inspection, tore these corners off so we could look at it, because like I said, if you can imagine already having a contractor hired and under contract for a certain price and getting the metal torn off the side of the building and then encountering this with change orders in the building open to the elements, that the problem that would pose would just be a nightmare.
Okay, thank you, Luke. Question?
Yes, sir. Of course, being that Sue-Ellen is in my ward, I knew nothing about it. But what I do know about, we've spent countless money on Sue-Ellen, from one storm to another, from one project to another, from proposing this thing as a hurricane shelter, and all these other proposals that we've spent money on Sue-Ellen logistically, and we've dumped tons of money in Sue-Ellen. This building has been a place where we recreated when I was in junior high school.
I understand.
It's been over 50 years. So we tore down a building that was less than 30 years, 40 years right here. And I would think before we went to spending money in these projects that we would tear back these things before we start spending any money. Got air conditioning systems that have been put in these places. We've had just countless things, and I'm just receiving everything from it within a week. So, you know, the real deal is, so I guess where I'm at with it, and I guess this may be a Miss Joseph question. If we propose to tear this building down, when, because we've projected with MPDD money, Mississippi Development. Yes. So we were supposed to have a lot of things going on at this building.
Correct.
And that's no longer going to be something that's finite as proposed. So where does this leave us as far as the grants that we've gotten to get this building improved within, I guess, the year or two, where we with tearing and demolishing this building? And I guess this still is a Ms. Joseph question. Because what you told us is that we're going to demolish this building.
Well, that's not for me to decide. That would be my recommendation. Now, as far as the wording on the grants, I'm not a grant person. That's beyond my scope of expertise. But if the wording does not exclude putting a new building there, that would be, I mean, ideal. If the wording in the grant, and with these grants, I don't know if it is worded like that it's strictly for repairs and renovations and updates and things like that. If it's exclusively worded like that.
Yeah, we don't have issue with it, no.
Then
There's no issue with the grant.
okay, then like I said, that would be a good situation. So aside from the grants, given, I don't know an exact dollar amount of what's available, but just a quick conversation with Jared Jackson, who's a licensed general contractor. He's like, yeah, we can definitely, I mean, you put a new building here for X number of dollars, and it's less than what the money that's available. So that would be best case scenario moving forward. Not only dollar wise, but time wise, it's going to be best for the community. Have a brand spanking new building. Everything's warranted. Like I said, if you go with a new building, like I said, it's engineered. These buildings, as long as you're not asking for anything crazy or oddball dimensions or something like that, most of these places can manufacture the building and have it dropped in 4 to 8 weeks on site. So, I mean, yes, there's still going to be some engineering, floor plan layouts, and there's going to have to be some things to decide on the front end. But if the decision's made, and I don't know if demolition counts as spending money. I know there's a deadline to start spending some of that money. So if demolition counts toward that, then like I said, it wouldn't be, it'd be a matter of getting bids from contractors to do a demolition, and that money can start being spent. While that process is starting, then we can look at building size and floor plan for the interior. It's not a complicated building. It's a rectangle with a basketball court. It's got a few offices, classrooms, some storage rooms, and a concession stand. So it shouldn't be a complicated build. It's just a matter of hashing out what y'all decide to do with it.
Pat, you had no comments as engineer?
Only that in the discussions that day, that the restoration would be more expensive than building a brand new building from scratch. And so we have had a preliminary discussion with SMPDD, and nothing's been resolved yet. It would be y'all's call to authorize a demolition and reconstruction versus restoration.
I guess where I'm at with it, just saying it's 50-year-old building, it's plus 50 years, okay? So where I'm at with it is we've lost so much in recreation. We've lost so much in dealing with funds, and then to restore these things, because what we have not done, we've lost a fire station in the area. All right, we need to restore that. All right, so we don't want to lose what has been, an icon of the community is Sue Ellen Jim. And so what we want to be able to do is move this thing forward. If it's going to be torn down, we need a deadline to have this thing back erected, not just living in perpetuity as a plan or something to that effect. So we want to definitely know that this building is going to be within 2026, 2027, something that's going to be back up and open again. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I agree. And like I said, I think as long as everybody is on the same page, as far as getting things rolling, it's not a complicated building. If the funding's there and everybody is in agreement on how to move forward, I don't think
Well, is the funding there?
Yeah, the funding's there. Our job here tonight is to decide whether or not this board want to agree to tear the building down. That's the first step.
Okay.
If we vote to tear it down, then the next step is, let's get a design in place. You know, we've already talked to PDD about the funding. It's not affected by this. The money we got with CDBG is not affected by this. So we still got $750,000, $800,000 that was going to be going into the old building. That money's still available. And what I'm being told is this building can be built for that, if not less. The only part I'm concerned about is the parking lots. You got enough money to build a building, but you got to also have a parking lot.
I don't think that would be a huge added expense. I think it probably would not be a bad idea to renovate the parking lot, maybe take the grader over the top, knock the top layer of asphalt off, and make sure we have positive drainage toward the road, toward the storm drains, and maybe top it. But like I said, even then, I don't think we're looking at a very complicated repair.
I hear what you're saying, right? So does it complicate it anymore because that was a 50-year design, having it closest to the street? Can it sit further away from the street? Does that add a whole different type of dimension to this thing?
That's not going to overly complicate anything. Like I said, if I'm not sure how the parcels line up, but like I said, I know there is some room behind it. If it needs to be moved further back, then we can just, like I said, we hadn't started anything yet. So in the design phase, it wouldn't be overly complicated to do that.
We've had some preliminary discussion about that, just knowing that when you move it back, you are taking up part of the park that's behind it.
Yeah, and like I said,
walking trail behind it. So when you move it back, which we ought to do, to be to have more parking in the front, then it does mean that you're going to have less park in the back. So that would have to be reconfigured. The walking track in the back would have to be.
Yeah, so well, I don't know how far back y'all planning on going. I know there's a fence probably 25 or 30 feet behind the building. And like I said, I'm not sure where the walking track is, but as long as there's always a compromise. I mean, you can get back a little bit, but not quite to the walking track, that may work. But otherwise, like I said, I don't think it'd be too difficult to reconfigure the track, go around it.
I could say, our mission tonight is first thing first, and that is, do we want to move forward to demolish the building? And if we said yes, then we need to immediately start, because of time constraint that we're concerned about, to start designing to get something before this board, so they can agree with that, and go to the next step.
Yes. I believe, Donovan, you've been talking to Tom Rich about floor plans and what you need as far as office and office. Good deal. So like I said, it's not a complicated design even on the interior. So if they get that nailed down and Richie gets a design, then it shouldn't be too bad.
Yeah, and I was
talking
just,
about,
oh, go ahead, Alderman.
you're talking about moving that building back. Whether y'all know it or not, will you be driving pilots out there?
Not that I know of.
Well,
We don't expect to. No, we don't expect that to be a PAL supported building.
yeah, whether you know it or not, further back, there used to be a pond there.
Okay.
A swimming hole. And they filled that in. And the further you go back, the more water you're gonna run into.
Yeah, so
A lot of people here is not aware of that.
I'm definitely not aware of that.
I know it. See, I'm 72 years old. And that pond was there when I was a boy. So now you better take under consideration where and how far you move that building back. Because you notice when you go through a rainy season, it take months for that area back, the walking track and the basketball court and all that. It take months to dry.
Yeah, so again, I'm not sure how far back this is the first time I've heard anything about possibly.
Well, it was just a suggestion.
Okay, I got you.
Because the design for that building had been in existence when we didn't have a flux of traffic
Correct.
the way we do now. So it was just because we have such a large land mass right there. It was just a suggestion. That was it.
And hypothetically, if the building, everybody decides, if y'all decide to move the building back to allow more parking in the front, if that does happen, that's the route we want to move forward. There'll be some engineering, of course. We'll do probably a soil study to make sure we got compaction there. And if the soil's no good, we can muck it out, bring in good structural dirt. So like I said, that is something definitely to be concerned about. But on the front end, like I said, engineer on the front, if the soil's no good, we can definitely address it before it's an issue. And we will, of course, the building needs to be brought up at least 8 to 12 inches from where it's at, so we can kind of alleviate some of the drainage and moisture issues that we've had.
Mayor, I think what you pointed out is, the bottom line is, the building's not usable anymore. So if you don't tear it down, you can't do anything. You cannot move forward with anything if you don't get that one out of the way and then decide what you're gonna do. But you can't use what's there. So to the mayor's point, I think first step is to get that one down and out of the way.
So Alderman Dubo, since it's in your ward, I get a motion from you to, over the turn. No,
Question before you go.
Yes, sir.
Will we have a full bidding process? Will we send out bids to different?
Yeah, we always do that.
Better do that, yeah.
That's part of the process.
Mr. Dubose, Alderman Dubose, can I
ask a question? I'm sorry. I was just in the Recreation Advisory Committee last week and I didn't hear anything about this.
Right, me either.
This is the first time I'm hearing about this. I lied to you, I'm a little taken back by it. To Alderman Dubo's point, the amount of money that we've invested in that place over several years. I need a second. And I'm actually recommending if we can table this so that we can schedule a special call meeting, have a work session or something to lay this out and digest this, because this is new and unexpected.
To lay out discussing whether we should tear down?
Yes, sir.
Oh,
Well, we can't even, well, first of all, it's been determined that it's not usable anymore.
I know,
It's gonna cost way more.
Forgive me, I was just in a meeting last week.
I got you.
That's why I'm thrown off by this.
Yeah.
I've never heard of this until
I think it was
just now.
Last Monday or two, met the contractor out there and had him open up a couple sections of the walls. So this is a relatively new development as far as the underlying condition. We didn't realize it was this bad. Again, we were looking at potential repairs to the building, and then figured we'd probably better do some examination on the front end. And this came about, so it wasn't necessarily expected, but we just found, what was it, Monday or Tuesday? Monday. Yes, sir.
Can I ask a question? I'm no engineer, I'm nobody's engineer. But how did you go procrastinate with all this other stuff about what we could do and this and that, instead of going straight to the point and see what's the building usable? I mean, we done wasted months. How long been done?
It's been since my first term.
Okay.
That we've been trying to get it, but I know it's
This
been
money
a
is
concern.
who's gonna reimburse that money? I mean, I don't, I'm like, Alderman Wilson, I think we need to table this, that we can,
And
that we can get our heads together here.
I mean, it's no need to table it. This is what I'm saying, is if they've come up in here and they've told us that this building is no longer usable. That's, all it is a structure that can't be inhabited, nobody.
There's a reason to table it, but I don't think it should be discussed, right?
Okay.
There's some reason I want to bring up, that I don't want to bring up publicly until
Okay.
our heads together. We know it's got to be torn down, but what I want to know why it took so long to get across the river.
And I will say this, anything can be fixed if you want to throw enough time and money at it. I just don't think that it's feasible to do so in this situation.
Right.
So, I mean, like I said, I don't know the extent of repairs that have been done in the past years. I know we've been looking at this thing off and on for several months. I think probably the air conditioners, I know that was a recent repair. I think that money, the AC units, that money's not wasted. Those should be able to be reused. As far as other money that's been put into it, I know it had a roof repair at some point since the tornado. I think if I had to guess, I think that was probably done just in an effort to get the building weather tight again. So it didn't get any worse. But like I said, I don't think anybody really knew or expected the extent of it. We expected to find some rust. We expected to find that bottom purlin rusted or deteriorated and probably need to be replaced all the way around. But the main structural columns, I mean, we're talking about 5/16 or 3/8 thick steel I-beams. And I mean, to see rust or a piece of metal that thick rusted all the way through, we're not expecting that. So, I mean.
Well, I really want to say this, and I'll be done. But we had Sue Ellen, what used to be called Dr. Martin Luther King Fire Station, was about in the same, if not predated, Sue Ellen Gym. It was torn down with that same structural rust. We functioned in that building forever and a day, and that was one of the main reasons. And it would seem in rationale that these things would be the same systemic problems that's going on at this building. What kind of defies gravity to me is just the fact that we constantly keep dumping money in this building. So I'm with tearing it down, but Ms. Joseph, I guess and I hope that I'm talking to the right individual. It's just getting this building back erected and back on a time schedule, and not necessarily have to be the same structure of building and same layout that this one was, because I've seen some pretty decent little walking tracks inside too of buildings. So, you know, these things, I just wanted to make sure that we had a timetable, because what I've dealt with from Ward 3 constituents is frustration about the area.
No, Richard can probably speak to the timeline, but I hear, you know, some aspects of we've dumped money into this facility.
Right.
In this cycle, we spent about 7,000 or so on the roof for the roof repairs. And then you did about 46,000 on the AC, which are proposed to go into the new facility. So that's the extent of funding that's been spent so far.
Thank you.
So we're not talking about, you know, massive amount of funding for the SCRC grant or the CDBG grant or the 2% city dollars. So we're talking about, we're at a place now where you could make a decision before we have gotten to spending an influx of funding on this facility. So if you wanted to know hundreds of thousands of dollars, and, you know, let's take a look at this. We have spent about 7,000 so on the roof, and then the 46 on the ACs is proposed that those AC units will be used in the facility. That's what your funding's been so far.
Okay.
If it's 7,000 for the roof, it's just to keep it where, right through it, or whatever, because that is actually a FEMA project. So FEMA obligated to put the money to fix the roof. We're not going to repair the roof. Then FEMA we have to go through the process of having those funds deobligated. for that list because that, what the project is set for, it's not going to be what's gonna happen. So that, and then with SEMA, would have had to have repaired it and submitted it to them for reconstruction. So that's why the 7,000 had been used. It's just to prepare it so it wouldn't rain or anything.
I guess where I'm at with it is I'm fine with tearing the building down. What I'm not right with is not having it has to have a projected date of, yeah, putting it back up, because what we've done, I might not even be in office next time. And here it is, we've torn down something and we haven't seen it back restored. So I want to be able to guarantee these things are wheels in motion, period, yeah, with a real tight timeline.
Because even with when we approached the repairs, there were so many things that were unforeseen. And so that's brought us here because we were moving, we were rolling in motion. Got your roof done, you got your HVAC done, but then once you started having the flooding to come in, then you had to reassess. So we had already gotten the posts for the flooring, we were already moving on getting the office and all of those repairs done. But then once you start to have so many infrastructure issues, it got us to where we are today. So you had to just stop and do a full assessment because the assessment on the front end said we're moving forward with the repairs. So now that the infrastructure is shifted to a place where it is in not disarray, it's actually in a place where it is now. So that's what brought us here. It's not, any one timeline, any one set of funding, but it's our reality. Once the building starts to shift and you start to see the evidence, then you didn't have a choice but to do this type of assessment. And it's extensive enough that we're glad that we did it. Because if we would have continued on that path from the original assessment, then we would have, then you would have gotten thousands of dollars, then gotten to this place. So it's good that we're in a place that way.
So the situation could be a whole lot worse than it is. We, like Ms. Bonner was saying, we could be a couple $100,000 into interior renovations and new gym floor, things like that, and then come up with that. But like I said, it's, and it is frustrating, but like I said, I think timeline wise, like I said before, I don't think it's a very complicated build. It's an engineered structure, so the outside of the building really doesn't require any additional engineering. That's something that's done in-house with the metal build manufacturer. And then once they have an interior floor plan laid out and life safety plan, things we need to move forward with it, once that's been hashed out, then we start select the process of getting bids from contractors. I said, I think it's like a lot of municipal type projects. Put a deadline on it, put that on the contractor. We get started, hand it over to the contractor. Hey, this is the date, whatever is reasonable, 6 months or 9 months or whatever the case may be, whatever decided on. And there should be a penalty after that date. And that's a lot of big projects like that, especially things for the county school districts. They have those type penalties. So I think keeping the timeline, once we get to the point of y'all vote to tear this one down and start moving forward, once we get to the point where hopefully in not the too distant future where this is awarded to the contractor, I think everything should go relatively smooth.
Okay, we got a couple questions on the floor here. One is, recommendation to tear the building down. Another one is table it and so we can have further discussion or maybe have a field trip. Some can go out and look at it themselves to see what it look like. So.
Mayor, the motion table is a priority motion, so it would have to go first if they're.
Yes, priority motion, so you want to make it?
I didn't.
don't think it was a motion.
We just need to be clear. I don't know if Alderman Wilson or Bradford actually made the motion. They were throwing it out.
No, they didn't make a motion. They was, and they thought that's why I'm asking them now. If they want to make that motion,
No motion made.
I got you, but
My total concern is because we know the building is dilapidated. We know it can't be inhabited after it's been compromised now. My biggest concern is when will it be re-erected? So that's one thing. It's one thing because we can't do anything else in the building at this point. It's dead. So,
So the process would be, the sooner you make the decision on the first one, the sooner you can get to the next one.
I recommend that we demolition of this building, Sewell and Jim. Second.
The most of my Alderman, that we demolish this building, Sewell and Jim, and that was second Alderman.
No, okay.
You know, the discussion.
I think it's a foregone conclusion, the building is beyond the point of refurbishment. So,
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Nays? Ayes have it.
Next item for discussion is Mississippi Export Railroad.
Which item?
thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you. Gentlemen, I should want to mention to you that we have a meeting scheduled with Mississippi. The initial drafts that we have in place sort of eliminates the arch here that we have out there in front of the recreation building now. We're going to try to negotiate with Mississippi Export. It's just the point of discussion and an idea to utilize some of the property, the waterfront property behind Mississippi Export, so we can move our boat launch from the current location farther east behind Mississippi Export, try to keep it as close to the downtown area as we can. That's just for discussion. I just want to let you guys know so that you won't be able to say Chapman just took off and started discussing something that he didn't mention to us. So I want to mention to the board, I've already done it by the mayor. He was with us when we looked at it. On the chest band, remembers at some point in time, he's 110 years old. He remembers when there was a yacht club at that location some years ago. So if that's the case, we may be able to negotiate just enough property for us to access a boat launch and keep it as close to downtown as we can. It's just for discussion. I wanted to share that so everybody would know.
But the thing on the other day in time,
Thursday, we'll be meeting with them Thursday. Good morning at 9. And all the chess thing has agreed to go with me, and he may be able to mention to them what that location, or what that facility was way back then. It's another opening for another alderman if anybody else wants to go with it. Anyone have any questions about that?
anyone have any question, Alderman Chapman, about this?
Man, I just want to appreciate that reaching out, because that may be our privilege, because we've, just in, I both have had lots of comments about boat launch, family people want boat launch. So, the idea of relocating versus just eliminating is appreciated. I would just add to that if our goal is to move quicker rather than slower with the bulkhead and the downtown, getting into the area of that boat launch, what I've heard, you're gonna get into a lot of permitting and such as that, so that might cause some delays where you maybe make that less of a priority and move on toward the other things that you were mentioning to save yourself some time, to be able to move on to bulkhead and your pier and the docks and other things, and maybe but to have a plan in place, thank you, but I like that, and that's a great suggestion.
Mayor, the last is I need a motion to close session to determine the need for executive session.
Motion.
Second. Motion to,
What's going on, Chapman?
everyone need to go into executive session.
Second Alderman. No, for that, I mean,
Right.
for development. All in favor, say aye. Ayes have it. What's needed?
Purposes would be to update on pending and potential litigation. In addition, added late was park and recreation personnel as well as the police department personnel issue. So those are the reasons for entering an executive session.
So those issues qualify for the executive session, then I'll get a motion for the executive session.
So moved.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for coming. You don't want to have all of them, yeah.